Oh god, guys, I just finished my audition. I am so embarrassed. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you guys more about it later on. Gotta catch my train now. Explain later. Yeah, so I auditioned for SM for the first time in an offline setting. This was their SM weekly audition that's now back in an offline setting, so I tried out for this because I thought it would be a good experience. Now, might I remind you, this is actually not my first SM weekly audition experience because I have done 3 other ones, although these were online because back at the time it was COVID season. I believe it was 2 years ago that I auditioned for these. Anyway, I have a whole playlist full of audition experience videos if you are interested in watching those because they are quite interesting. I would say more than this video. But as per usual, I'm going to be debriefing everything that happened in the audition with details. I know it's pretty rare to see these kind of videos because typically you're not allowed to share much about auditions, and you know, I have gotten almost sued by SM for that. We're not going to talk about it. You can watch this video if you are interested in that, but I'm going to share what I can. I did take notes beforehand, so I am referencing my phone as we go along. So firstly, I walked into the building 5 to 10 minutes before the actual audition start time, which was 11 AM. And actually this is referenced in their SM weekly audition post, and it's not too specific. They don't share much details, but what they share is it's anyone, regardless of your age, gender, nationality. I did cover this in my audition tutorial, but I'll go over it again. And it's every Saturday, 11 AM, and 1 PM is the last time to register. So any time before, I would recommend going in, but to be honest, I recommend just going in at 11 AM or a little bit earlier so that you can stand in that line and be prepped. Oh my god, words are not coming out. And the place that this is held, there is a detailed address on the post, but if you're referencing the subway station, it's near 서울숲길, and it's like a huge building. You won't miss it. So going back to the actual timeline, when I walked in, it said that you should go to the 1층, so the first floor 안내 desk, which is basically like the information desk. So I was like, okay, great. I have no clue what I'm doing. There's like a couple people standing by, but I don't really know. So I went to the first floor information desk and I asked, how can you do the SM audition, or where is that happening? You know, I just simply asked that. And then, oh my god, no help at all. I don't really know why it said on that post to go to the first floor information desk because that man was the rudest guy I've ever met. Okay, maybe not ever met, but in my trip to Korea that I've ever met. Anyway, apart from that, or after that happened, I guess, I made conversation with the girl because she was just kind of standing there on her phone and it seemed like she was auditioning. So I approached her and asked, are you here for the SM audition? And we talked for a couple minutes or so. She said that it was her first time auditioning and she does want to become an idol, but currently she's a university student studying to be like a flight attendant, which I thought was really cool. And she was an 04 liner, which is a year apart from me, and she said that she has been casted by, I think it was like, I don't remember. See, I wrote it down at the time, but I didn't really quite catch her. So I think it's YG Plus, but it's like some YG sub-label that isn't Black Label. And of course, all this conversation was in Korean, but she asked me what category I'm doing, and I said vocal, and I asked her, and she was like, okay, so I was originally going to do rap, but then I decided against it, and I just prepared a song to sing. And when I asked her why, she was like, oh, it might be a little bit ridiculous that I'm the only one rapping there when everyone else is singing. And I was like, girl, no, it's not gonna be embarrassing because that's the way you can stand out. If everyone else is doing the vocal category and you're the only one doing rap, you're automatically going to leave a stronger impression than the other people who did vocals. Of course, that is if you're stronger and more confident in the rap category, but there's a big mistake there, going against a decision simply because you think the other people are doing. In an audition setting, you generally want to avoid what everyone else is doing as long as it's not breaking the rules, that is. So here's my pro tip of the day. Talk to people. I swear, it's going to make the experience a lot more fun, I guess, and a little less nervous as well, because you kind of understand that you're not the only one doing this audition and everyone's kind of there in the same situation. Also, I just think it's fun getting to know new people. I am not even an extrovert and I still think it's fun. So when 11 AM hit, a staff member came out of the elevator area and greeted us, saying if you're here for the SM audition, come closer in line and stand closer to the elevator part of the building. And then and there, she told us that we would have to be waiting in line for quite a bit, so we were all like, okay. And she individually came up to us and gave us 2 things. So firstly, the name sticker that we received. So it just literally had, I don't know, I'll show you the clip. And additionally, what I thought was really funny, and I've never had this happen in an audition setting, but she gave us stickers for our phones so that we wouldn't film, and she told us like the reason why. And basically it was one big sticker here and one small sticker for the front. So they're like very serious about this. There was also a foreigner in line. There were a lot of foreigners. I just want to kind of preface that. If you guys are wondering, oh, should I go to this audition? I don't even speak Korean. I don't even know if I'll be able to get there. But like a lot of foreigners were there. I think I would say almost even half of the people were foreigners. But anyway, the second girl in line did not speak Korean and she had this jacket on. And so the staff member asked, are you gonna leave the jacket on while you're in the audition? And I wish I knew what country she's from so I don't have to call her a foreigner, but basically she was like, oh no, I think I'm gonna keep it on because I don't have anything underneath. And then the staff member just kept on saying it in Korean and they just like talked to each other in different languages, which I thought was kind of funny. But eventually the staff member gave up and just moved on to the next person. But it's just kind of funny considering like they know that's a foreigner. She didn't even look remotely Korean, so maybe SM hire people that speak English, or at least make an attempt to communicate a little bit easier. They're not gonna sue me out of that, are they? By 11:05, there were literally 8 people standing in line. I know, crazy. But if you think about it, it was during Korean exam season, like final season, I think, for middle schoolers and high schoolers. So it definitely makes sense as to why there's such little people there and a lot of them being foreigners. And by 11:30, there were 9 people. What a development. I can kind of show you how it looks, but essentially they were playing the same EXO, SHINee, NCT Team Dream movie over and over again, so I was kind of entertained by that. You know, I was listening to music as well, but I couldn't, you know, film any videos on my phone. Good thing I had my camera with me. And then at 11:40, we walked into the building itself. And so how it goes is you go into the elevator section, and I'm pretty sure it was the 11th floor. I think I wrote down 11th floor. There were a lot of floors, I think about 30. Oh, and I forgot to mention only 1 through 9 could enter is what the staff member said, but there were only 9 people. So basically if there were more people, then they would have those 9 people only come up, and then maybe next 20 minutes or so, the next group would go up. So obviously I didn't see the entirety of the 11th floor, but the main area was this gigantic room. I don't even know how to describe it. I would say it's like a size of a practice room or so, but it had mirrors all over and there were seats. I would say about maybe either 25 to maybe 30 seats. And on those seats were these little pieces of paper as well as pens. And those pieces of paper were basically your audition form. So here's almost everything that was on the form. Basic information, I'm sure you guys can almost assume it. And if you see online forms as well for auditions, it basically follows a similar format to that. So your name, your birthday, your address, your other basic information, and here's the more so specific ones that maybe you wouldn't see in other auditions. So school and grade. So this one is something that you see quite commonly as well, but your school name and your grade is what they wanted. And they said if you've already graduated, then state the same, your school and then your grade, and say graduated. That's what they specifically wanted. And then the most important thing was your experience. The SM staff really emphasized this. They were like, you've got to include your experience, including any vocal or dance lessons that you've had, and only those two categories were mentioned. And then they also asked if you've auditioned for other companies before, write that all down, and if you've auditioned for SM1s, when and what the name of the audition was. And at that moment, I could not remember what auditions I did or when. Maybe I should have prepared this before. Not that it's too significant, but they were really emphasizing it, so I just kind of left it as blank. I said none. So if you are going to the SM Weekly audition, another pro tip is to actually prepare the name and the dates of the auditions that you've done specifically for SM. If it's like, I auditioned for JYP once, don't include that, you know. Do include the lessons you've had as well as other significant experience, like if you're a trainee, if you're on some kind of entertainment show that's specific to the K-pop industry, then write that all down and be prepared to write it on the spot as well. And on the back of the sheet, there are some agreement signings basically saying, you know, we have rights to this information, blah, blah, blah. We'll keep this for a certain amount of days, and you've got to check that off. And this sheet actually had both Korean and English, so if you don't speak Korean, you're still fine with it. Although, the guy next to me, I didn't even know he was Japanese, so number 5 it would have been, like applicant number 5. He was Japanese. Sorry, I ran out of battery. But this guy was really struggling. He was translating every single little thing because might I remind you, the camera is literally blocked, so you can't even like camera translate it, which is what you would typically do in that scenario. So he was taking forever, and later an SM staff actually just went up to him, and she was like, said something to him in Japanese, and he was like, oh, okay, thank you. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not really sure about what they were saying. So at 11:56, numbers 1 through 6 were guided to this hallway, which had various rooms that were blocked. We were told to wait there, and then some staff member gave us a short introduction of what we were getting ourselves into. And I actually did record that part. It happened to be recorded because okay, here's a big mistake on my part, which I will definitely learn from. So I was wearing a skirt which had no pockets, so I couldn't put my phone somewhere where I could record it. So I put it on the back of my skirt and hoped that it would stick. But when I tried to record stuff, it would just pause itself because it felt like my skin, and I'm pretty sure it felt a tap, so it paused the video, you know what I mean? I don't know why I didn't use just voice recording, because I don't really need that video function. Ugh, I don't know. I'll definitely revamp it for next time and make sure that I, firstly, wear a skirt or pants with pockets, and number 2, use the voice recording app, not the camera app. So because of that, I couldn't record my singing part. I'm so sad actually, because I sounded pretty good I think, but I'll talk about that later on. As you guys know, I probably will get in trouble if I do play the actual recording, so I'll listen to it once more and translate it for you guys. So I translated it, and I'm basically going to tell you guys what she said as if I am that SM staff, because it's just easier, and then I'll go through the details later on. So firstly, put your stuff on the floor and make sure your sticker isn't covered by your hair or any other clothing item. And when you go in, don't introduce yourself and just start with your category right away. So for vocals, sing the highlight part for 30 seconds with no accompaniment. And for dancing, we'll play you a random song and you just have to dance to it on the spot. And for the dancing category, rather than individually, you'll be dancing together for the people that actually apply to dancing. For acting, do it within 30 seconds, and for modeling, show us 3 poses. And when you're done with the audition, you have to be escorted out of the room and down to the first floor, and you cannot go alone. And lastly, we'll contact you individually if you pass within a month. So firstly, at the end, you'll all dance together. That part, I just wanted to clarify it because it might be a little bit confusing. So basically, you go in as 3 people into the room, and you don't know what these people are, and you don't know what category they're doing essentially, unless you ask, but you know, it's not like a talking type of environment. So let's say all 3 people are doing dance. Then you're going to be going into that room, they play a random song, and you all dance together at the same time with the same song choice. And let's say one person is doing vocal and 2 people are doing dance. In that case, the person doing vocals will do her part. She'll sing, get out of the room, and wait outside of there, while the other 2 people will be dancing together, and then they'll leave and then they'll be escorted out. Hopefully that makes sense. And about the escorted part, they were really serious about this. One girl had to go to the washroom. I don't think she was within number 126, it was like way before. And she asked the staff and she was like, can you not wait for it? And then the girl was like, yeah, it's kind of urgent. And then the staff was like, we can't let you leave right now. You have to wait until the audition is over. It'll take around maybe 10 to 25 minutes. And the girl was like, okay. And basically she didn't get escorted out. I'm not really sure why they're so serious about this. Maybe it's because, you know, someone might go into the other rooms on that floor, on the 11th floor. Oh, and just to clarify, this was all in Korean. The staff only said this in Korean, like the information part, with no translation. So I'm not really sure if they're foreigner friendly or not. I don't know. The line gets a little bit blurry, but considering how many foreigners there are, I feel like they would have to implement just like an English translation. So numbers 1, 2, 3 went into the room together, and I know that one of the people did dance because I heard some music coming out of the room. Actually, the room is soundproof, which I thought was crazy. I couldn't hear anything, even though they're blasting music in there for the dance applicant. But when they opened the door, I heard a bit of music, and that song was, oh yes, found it. It's Mirror Mirror by Millie and F Hero. So that song was playing for the random dance category. And I'm not really sure about the other song choices that I heard because I just didn't recognize them, but it was all in that very similar style, hip hop. And when numbers 1, 2, 3 were done, and were escorted downstairs, I'm assuming, we had to go in, and so I was with numbers 4 to 6 because I was number 4, and so number 5, just to recap, was that Japanese boy, and I forgot, number 6, she was from Thailand. So we went into the audition room and it was kind of scary. It was like this really dark place. It wasn't very well lit, which is kind of new because when they're filming audition videos, usually you would have really good lighting, but this wasn't that case. So when we went inside, there were 3 pieces of tape on the floor, basically quite separated from one another, I would say, and that was where we were supposed to stand. And there were 2 judges in the room. It's like quite a big room, I would say like a normal practice room size, with mirrors of course. And one judge had a camcorder, like basically a camera, like a small one, and she was recording it, and she was, I would say, maybe in her 20s. And then the other judge was actually a bit older, which I was shocked with. I would say maybe late 30s or so, maybe early 40s. I'm not too sure. I didn't, you know, make direct eye contact and analyze her face, but she definitely felt like the more experienced one, which is interesting because all of the other judges I've seen are on the younger side, like I would say early 20s to mid 20s. That kind of made me a little bit more nervous because, you know, probably someone higher up, a little bit more analytical, and she was going through the audition forms that we previously submitted. So I'm not too sure on this because I don't have the exact recording and my memory is not the best, as you guys already know. But basically she said, "Number 4, you can begin." So I started singing right away. I mean, I did like a... and then I started singing. And it went pretty well, except after the first chorus, I actually forgot one of the lyrics. And it was kind of obvious because the judges like looked up. And it was funny. And she, while I was actually performing, she was going through my audition form, reading it back and forth. I don't know why she was looking at the back because that's just the agreement form and it'll look the same for everyone else, but she was reading through it very carefully. Let me just record myself and see how long that would take. And I'm purposely not sharing the song choice so that you guys come back to the next audition tutorial, or not tutorial, next audition experience video, and that time I'll definitely showcase my singing to you guys. Okay, that took me 1 minute and 30 seconds. So basically that is when the judge stopped me, and I have a feeling it's because I actually missed the lyric, which is unfortunate, but honestly it was repeating the pre-chorus section, so I totally understand that. And they said prepare only 30 seconds, so considering they stopped me there, maybe they were interested, maybe they weren't, I really don't know. The number 5 dude, he was a dance applicant, so he was going later on, as I mentioned before. That's just kind of how the process works. Number 6, and oh my gosh, she was really good. She sang E highs only, and it was really good. Like, her voice color was so good. I was fangirling, and she sang, I don't know how long she sang for, but she was cut as well, of course, and I would say a little bit more than 30 seconds, but I don't think it was as long as mine. But honestly, the judges really didn't ask any other questions, and the older judge, she said, "Okay, thank you for your time. You may exit now," or I guess like you guys can exit now. Now we'll begin with dancing because dancing is only for the dancing applicants. I wish I knew what song he was freestyling to because I heard a bit of it, but I didn't recognize the song at all. But as I mentioned, it was very hip-hoppy and a similar vibe to Mirror Mirror. So here's a pro tip. When you're practicing your freestyling, if you want to audition for the dancing category that is, then make sure to prepare a song that is similar to Millie's Mirror Mirror and kind of get used to it. Like, literally try it out yourself. Just play that song and see how you would freestyle it, record yourself, and see some moves that don't really look good on you, and then maybe reinvent some other moves so that it looks better on yourself. And I also kind of regretted it because I love freestyling. For some reason, it makes me much more confident than singing. I think for singing, it's a little bit obvious when you're nervous and your breath control gets a little bit shaky, but for dancing, I think it's just so fun. I guess the only thing is that I can't really record it. I would like know the song that I'm dancing to, so maybe that helps. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to do the vocal category or the dance category in the future, which would be more helpful for you guys. Obviously I would only do the dance category if it's a freestyle audition. So applicant number 6 and I just kind of stood outside of the room, and the staff member that was escorting us was also waiting there. And after the guy was done with dancing, we were basically taken down. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I actually talked with the applicant number 6, and she was from Thailand, and I said, "Oh my god, your singing was so good," because it was. I thought it was really good, and she was like, "No, yours was really good." And I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" because her accent seemed a little bit unique. So she was like, "Oh, I'm from Thailand," and the staff member kept staring at me, so I just kind of stopped the conversation. But as we were escorted out, and the SM staff member was like, "Great job today, you can leave now," I asked her more questions. So apparently she was with her other friend who was also from Thailand, and they're both doing an audition. They're going to Hongdae later on, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, I've gotta go, bye. And that was the end of the audition. Kind of a long story time, but it was fun doing an audition in a while. I guess I just wish that I recorded the singing part, because usually at this time I would be showing my actual vocals. I would love to share it next time, but let me know if you guys prefer me doing the vocal category or the dance category. But that is it for this video. Make sure to check out more audition experience videos if you are interested, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.